Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ilham Al-Fahmi binti Abdul Kashaf. I am your moderator for today's webinar. So today we will be discussing about one important topic, which is religious pluralism in Malaysia. MashaAllah. So before I would like to introduce our panelists, I would like to give some appreciation to our honorable instructor, Dr. Haslina Ibrahim, for giving us opportunity to have this talk. So inshallah, now I will be introducing our panelists and also reporter. The first panelist is Sister Aida Muhammad Zain. Second, Sister Nur Hazira Abdulwani. Third, Sister Siti Nur Saleha Razali. And me myself, Siti Nur Ilham Al Fahmi binti Abdul Kashaf. And last but not least, Sister Fatin Husna Ahmad Sahri as reporter. So, what are we going to discuss today? We have five main ideas, which is the first one, the introduction. Second one, religious pluralism in Malaysia. Third, issues of religious pluralism in Malaysia. Fourth, response to this issue. And the last one is conclusion. So, without further ado, I will continue with the introduction. So, what is actually religious pluralism? So, religious pluralism is the state of being where every individual in a religiously diverse society has the rights, freedoms, and safety to worship or not according to their conscience. Meaning what? For example, I'm a Malay. In Malaysia, we have three races and like variety of religions. So each of us, like me and my friend, either he or her from different religion, they has right and freedom and safety to worship however they want. That's mean I cannot feel like judgmental and being indiscriminate other people for worshipping other religion than me. So I'll be proceeding with what is the history of religious pluralism in Malaysia. Okay, first of all, we have the development of indigenous Malaysia culture. Malay culture, we have orang asli, we call it here. So orang asli here, they have their influence from Indian, from China, and from Middle East, which they have a religion of Buddhism and also Hindu. So that was on 15th century, and then there is coexistence with Malay world with Hindu and Buddha. Okay, and then after the coming of Middle Eastern pedagang Middle Eastern people here. So they introduced Islam. So every Malay become Muslim. So and then after 1957, there are introduction of Chinese and Indian immigration by the colonialism of British. So this add more some variety of religions, not only Hindu, Buddha, and Islam, but also we have other religion we have to tolerate. And starting from 1959, our first prime minister committed to policy of religious tolerance, which we try to understand and accept all the religion other than Islam. The next one is I will ask the question to Sister Aida. So Sister Aida.
Yes.
Okay, the question is, what is the group of pluralists and famous figures who support religious pluralism in Malaysia? Also, how does this idea of religious pluralism spread here?
Okay, thank you so much to the Miss Moderator. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Aida binti Muhammad Zain. Right. So now I will talk about who support religious pluralism in Malaysia. Okay, can we move to the next slide? Okay, at the beginning, religious pluralism in Malaysia has been emerged from Indonesia liberalism movement, which is from this movement, which is liberalism. The elements of liberalism has been spread through many organizations, and one of the elements of liberalism is religious pluralism. And they are organized many events that support religious pluralism, which is they start to introduce inter-religious dialogue, which is supported from uh, from Consultative Council of Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, and Sikh, which is short form MCCBCHS. Okay, so this organization is like main organization who support interreligious dialogue in Malaysia, and they also promote the religious pluralism. And then after that, they also established the new organization, which is Christian Federation of Malaysia, which is established in 1985, which is also support the religious pluralism. And then there are another institution, which is Institute Kajian Dasar, which is IKD, established in that year as well, which is 1987. And actually, this organization, this institution, was aimed to form cultural renaissance, civil society, and they also promote the interaction among ASEAN and others. But actually, they are also from what we call they support religious pluralism in Malaysia, and they are also from liberalism movement as well. And then there are also another organization has been established later on, which is Sister in Islam, SIS. SIS is also one of the from feminism movement, and they also support liberalism movement. But actually, at the beginning, Sister in Islam was established in 1988, and they fight the Muslim women rights in Malaysia. But they also support the element of liberalism, such as they want freedom, and there are many other issues that have been quite among this. And um, to sum up, this all organization and institution was later on support to establish what we call interfaith commission, and this got what we call this interfaith commission is one of the organization who support religious pluralism in Malaysia as well, and they also support and other what we call events um, from to what we call to support liberalism and religious pluralism. So here, religious pluralism is one of the elements of liberalism. They want to freedom in our country. Okay, so next, um, who is the a famous figure who support religious pluralism? Okay, later on, religious pluralism has generated public and academic debates in Malaysia following Anwar Ibrahim's speech titled Religion and Pluralism in a Divided World at the London School of Economics, LSE, on 18 March 2010. Here, Anwar was interpreted as propagating a philosophy deemed sensitive to the majority Muslims in Malaysia. So here, from what has been uh, spoke by Anwar Ibrahim, it is shown that Anwar Ibrahim also support religious pluralism in Malaysia. And some quotes from what he has been talked in his speech. Okay, here I didn't put in the slide, but I can read it and fastly. Okay, he said, I believe I am not alone in believing that religious pluralism is essential for Malaysian society. In that for religious pluralism to flourish in Malaysia, you must believe in your God, but what you believe no compulsion in religion is for the Quran one another. Verily, the noblest is all knowing. Okay, so what I have read in that has been presented by NY is from Muslim NGOs in Malaysia. Discourse depicting on the philosophy increased and remarks were expanded at the mainstream and electronic and social media either in support or against him. So later on, religious pluralism until now has been debated, right? Okay. So now move to the last question from moderator, which is how religious pluralism has been spread in Malaysia. Okay, as I said before, religious pluralism has been uh, what we call spread from liberalism element, right? Okay, religious pluralism is one of the elements of liberalism, and there are also many ways to promote to spread this kind of understanding, which is religious pluralism, which is books there are five that I can this from book through book events and the last which is promote the idea of religious pluralism, but so here is some of the harmonization which is established in 1989, established in 2004, and etc. Which is they are idea, but actually this diharamkan to promote and to be sold in magazine which is from Majalah Gatra and Majalah Kompas 2000 promote the idea of religious pluralism which is wait, wait. Okay, never mind, I will talk after this. Okay, and then website. They also have website who discuss specifically about religious pluralism, which is from this I quote from one of the article, which is from Islamic Life Liberalism. So this is the website who which discuss about religious pluralism, and also who have this email islib@yahoo.com. But I'm not sure this email still available or not. Okay, and then they also have a program and course which is leadership event. They organize event many events what we call from they they organize event emotionally spiritual quotation, which is ESQ. Actually, this is one organization, which is a leadership center that founded by Ari Ginanja Agustian. But this organization also promote religious pluralism through their event. Their event is like a leadership event or whatever, but they also also include the idea of religious pluralism, which is all religious is need to be treated as a same level as same like no tak ada beza lah macam tu. Okay, and then the last one is through film. Yes, religious pluralism has been spread through film. If we didn't if we didn't observe our film in Malaysia, actually there are many idea of religious pluralism has to be included in the film, but uh, it's like secara halus, which is uh, which is the public people cannot see, but they also like nurture the understanding of um, what we call of all religion is same, uh, is to be treated as an equal, right? And then the example of the film, which is film Sepet and Gubra, which is under we call pengarah Yasmin Ahmad. And in this film, they are also have some scene that promote the religious pluralism. They nurture the what we call the audience that actually religious should be treated as the same. Either you are in either you are in you are Christian or any other religion, but it should be treated as the same way. Uh, because in this film there are seen about one who have placu, and then they we call they she I'm sorry, she taubat and she become a religious person, but then there are also other scenes who like promote this religious pluralism now in this film. Maybe you can search more about this film if you want to know more. But yes, actually, this film also spread religious pluralism in Malaysia. Okay. So to conclude, we need to what we call to be careful in watch the film or other macam books, magazine, article, website, program or whatever.
All right. Yeah.
We need to observe carefully because nowadays
All right.
there are many secret agenda from religious pluralism that they want to nurture in our society. But okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you so much. So now
All
we
right. Thank you
move
so
to
much,
the
this is Sada, for the
moderator.
beneficial
Okay.
information. So I will proceed to the next speaker, which is Sister Hazira. So we are talking now about issue of religious pluralism. So Sister Hazira,
Yes.
okay. Please address us the prime issues of religious pluralism and tell us what is actually controversy meaning of religious pluralism in Malaysia.
Can you hear me clearly? Clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hazira binti Abdul. Thank you to our moderator, Sister Ilham, for asking me the question regarding the issues of religious pluralism in Malaysia. So, there are many issues related to religious pluralism, but now I will only focus on three main issues that I feel are very serious debated among the Malaysian, especially the scholar and politicians. So before I go further discussing the issues related to religious pluralism, I will talk about the controversial meaning of religious pluralism among the Malaysians. So the term religious pluralism often creates controversy among the scholars and politicians in Malaysia. So some define religious pluralism in the context of religious diversity or religious tolerance or interreligious dialogue. So at the same time, some define in the context of the unity of religious groups. So some of them agree with the ideology that lose the truth of all religions in the Western context. Like our sister mentioned before this, Anwar Ibrahim. Anwar Ibrahim is the figure who follow this and support the idea of John Hay, who believes that all religions have the same to claim and all are related to. It has been issued um, by and mentioned by our sister that um, the politician Anwar Ibrahim speech at the London School of Economics in 2010 and defined that religious pluralism in the sense of accepting the truth of other religions. So it can be proved that Anwar Ibrahim supports the religious pluralism. So this issue has become a sensitive issue to most Muslims in Malaysia. So many scholars and politicians have responded to his speech, like Muhammadi Ismail Mina Ahmad, the leader of Muafakat, and Muhammad Nafi Ahmad. So then some scholars accept, there are some groups who accept and reject religious pluralism idea. So some scholars accept religious pluralism as religious diversity, but reject the idea of equality in all religions, like Uthman al-Muhammadi. And while some of them disagree or reject religious pluralism because religious pluralism is an ideology that is contrary to Islamic belief. So this opposition occurred because of religious pluralism, which assume all religions are equal and worship the same God. So the scholars who are rejecting the definition of religious pluralism in the sense of religious tolerance, interfaith Jawa, and religious diversity like Anis Malik Tuha. So for him, religious pluralism is an understanding that views all religions as equal and with the same God. So it can be concluded that some Malaysians have mistakenly adopted the meaning of religious pluralism as religious diversity and took it as an instrumental concept for promoting religious tolerance in Malaysia. So some Muslims in Malaysia are against this philosophy as it contradicts with Islamic teaching, particularly in the same matter of Tawhid, which signifies the oneness of God. So the next issue, okay, so the first issue I will explain is the establishment of organization that have support the idea of religious pluralism. As mentioned by our sister just now, that religious pluralism in Malaysia emerged when there were elements of liberalism spread from um, Indonesian liberal movement. Then the element of liberalism spread through among the organization in Malaysia, like the Malaysian Consultative Council of Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, and Sikhs, NCCDCH, and like Christian Federation of Malaysia, Institute Kajian Dasar IKD, and Sister in Islam. So this organization initially only adhered to the element of liberalism, but eventually also contribute to the development of religious pluralism in Malaysia. So we can see that the development of religious pluralism in Malaysia become more serious issues with establishing when come out the establishment of Interfaith Commission IFC, which is made up of representatives of various religions equally to address various issues of interreligious relations. The real purpose is to equate the position and right of other religions with Islam. Besides, the IFC is viewed as a secular legal community front intended to challenge the power of the State Department of Islamic Affairs, so to avoid Sharia courts in Islamic legal affairs and to intervene in intra-Muslim matters. So this organization provides an opportunity for non-Muslims to interfere in Islamic affairs or Islamic affair in Malaysia. So the intervention is very dangerous to Muslims because it can damage their faith and understanding of Muslim in Malaysia. So the next issues is the issues of using the word Allah for non-Muslim. So this issue is confusing to non-Muslim in Malaysia whether they can use word Allah for their purpose to refer to their worship of God of God. So the use the word Allah caused controversy in Malaysia in 2007. The Malaysian government banned the Malay language section of Catholic Weekly. The Catholic Herald used the word Allah as a Malay translation for God. This claim is a concern to Muslims because it appears that it will confuse the Muslim community. However, this issue is um, and then this issue is also often debated by non-Muslim until now. As you can see, the issue that occurred earlier this year was when the High Court decision allowed the use of the word of Allah um, for learning and publishing Christianity. So it must it was a debate among the Muslims um, because it will they fear um, they fear that it will confuse the Muslim community um, about the using of the word among the non-Muslim or about non-Muslim among the non-Muslim. So the last issues I think is the issues of religious freedom. So referring to the issues of religious freedom in Malaysia, there are several things about it, namely the establishment of Article 11 of the Federal Constitution, which guarantee religious freedom. So the issues of NGO Coalition on Human Rights, Comengo, which guarantee religious claim to the government, which was to abolish the privilege of the Malays, entitle Muslims to apostasy, and recognize the right of LGBT minorities to practice their twisted sexual orientation. So, and then the issue of Kerajaan Langit, Ayahin. Um, Kerajaan Langit, Sky Kingdom, Ayahin. So you can see that all these issues are closely related to the claim of the right to freedom of religion. So as I said before, Christian in Islam also has supported religious pluralism because they understood religious pluralism as religious unity. So moreover, we know that Sister in Islam is also well known as an organization that voices the freedom demanded in Islam to recognize the freedom to change religion. So I think it's all for me. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much, Sister Nurhazira. That was so interesting, mashallah. And inshallah, we will be proceeding to the last section to Sister Saleha, inshallah. Sister Saleha?
Yes.
Alright. How do Malaysians deal with the issues, especially Muslim, and what is the fatwa related to religious tourism in Malaysia?
Okay, so thank you to our moderator, Sister Ilham. So, for the Muslim response to the issue of religious pluralism, so I will refer to the Islamic researchers next. Okay. So I will refer to the Islamic Resurgence, which is the group or organization that reject and against this philosophy. So they who actively voice out this issue while trying their best to make Muslim understand about the threat brought by religious pluralism. So I take two organizations, which is IKIM and another one is ISMA. So for the Institute Islamic Understanding Malaysia, IKIM, this group is strongly reject and criticize religious pluralism. So, in response to the issue of religious pluralism, IKIM has made press statements on the philosophy date December 23rd, 2010. In this press statement, he said that Islam rejects religious pluralism that states all religions are similarly true and equally true. For the second is only one religion owns the precise and comprehensive revelation that is Islam. And also for the third, for the follower of different religions should also be encouraged to strive in the efforts of righteous deeds, encouraging good deeds and disallow bad deeds. And for the matters between different religious followers have to be settled with the highest fairness, justice, and with the spirit of mutual respect towards religious principle. And the next slide. Okay, so for the second organization, which is ISMA, so the main objective is concentrate on the Malay and Muslims in Malaysia based on their motto, which is unanimous Islam and supreme Malay. So they strive to strengthen the doctrine of Muslim as an official religion enshrined in the federal constitution. So thus ISMA become a forefront in raising public awareness of the elements that strengthen their identity and belief like the ideology and movement of missionary, secularism, Shia, and also LGBT. And ISMA also has been outspoken in defending the rights and interests of Muslims in Malaysia and reject foreign interference in determining the country's future. So it can be seen that this organization and individuals very reject and against the uh, religious pluralism. So for the last question about the fatwa related to the religious pluralism, on July 31st, 2014, Selangor government gazetted a fatwa on religious pluralism. So it stated that any individual, society, or institution that adheres to the ideology of religious pluralism is heretical and deviates from the teaching of Islam. And any publication that contain elements of religious pluralism also should be banned and may be confiscated. And government also order the Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission (MCMC) that they must block society sites that are contrary to Islamic teaching and Islamic law. And then lastly is any individual who adheres to religious pluralism must repent and return to the path of Islam. So it can be seen that um, government are really concerned about religious pluralism, which is against Islamic teaching, by doing this fatwa. So I will give to the moderator. Thank you.
MashaAllah. Thank you so much to Sister Sitina Saleha Razali for the nice sharing. We would like to list down some suggestion or a solution how to solve the religious pluralism in our country. First, promote religious tolerance. Second, educate the society with the importance of understanding religious pluralism. Understanding here doesn't mean that we accept it, but we have to understand the idea of it, so we can accept other people who who are being tolerant with religious pluralism. The third one is ensure the religious rights of all worshippers of different religions. So for the last section, inshallah, is the conclusion. Um, we actually are we have no much time, so the conclusion that we can get here is there are few verses that promote about religious pluralism, and as we can see, Malaysian itself, we are not that agree with the idea of religious pluralism, but we can observe in some verses in the Quran which actually Allah say that there are a lot of religion, there are a lot of races that will exist in this world. So you have to be understanding and you have to cope with each other. So one of this is ya inna khalaqnakum syu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu inna akramakum innallahi atqakum. And there is no force in religion, like Allah said la ikraha fid din, so we cannot force other religion to accept us. We have to be understanding. So based on this, I would like to close our forum today with appreciation to all. Thank you for listening, and we'll see inshallah. That's all for us. Thank you so much. Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.